Alright, we're going to do a wheel bearing on this. It's a 2013 Fusion, I think. Pretty much the same for any rear two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. It'll be a little different for all-wheel drive. But this is a front-wheel drive. Obviously, you can see that bearing is smoked. I've already loosened these up. These are the caliper bolts. We got these little caps. It's a 7mm Allen wrench. I am doing rear brakes on it too, but I've already got a video as far as doing the rear brakes. I mean, doing the wheel bearings the same as doing brakes, just 4 more bolts and probably a lot of swinging with a hammer depending on where you're from. Brakes they're not that bad, but we got it apart anyways, and the rotor is really nasty, so we're just gonna change them while we're here. Since you're changing the rotor, I mean, I just hit it with a hammer. Make sure if you're doing this on a different vehicle, because this application applies to, not just Fusions, it's pretty much the same for a lot of vehicles. Make sure you don't have a set screw in your rotor. If you do, obviously take that out before you do something like this. Obviously, okay, so the rotor is just rusted up. That's actually a moved bearing. It's actually been changed already once, or more than once. It's been changed at least once. Well, hopefully it comes out easy. Probably won't. We'll see. Alright, so I'm going to give it some taps here, try to get it to just pop off. If it doesn't, I'll get my air hammer and try to turn it. So, might not come off that easy for you. Like I said, this one's been changed, so pull back of that thing was falling apart. It's to be expected, I guess. Oh, let me get a couple of tools rounded up to clean this. I'll be right back. Okay, so what I'll use to clean it is I just use a carbide burr bit on a drill, low speed. Be careful, because something like this can chew into the aluminum pretty easily. You want to take the top layer of corrosion off. Should mention also there's an ABS speed sensor there. You need to be careful. If you're doing this, don't obviously cut into the sensor. Your bearing should just pretty much pop right in there, but I'm waiting on the parts. Okay, so the bearing actually showed up about 2 seconds after I shut the camera off. Came right in the door, so yeah, you can see that just kind of goes right in and out. That's what you want. You can put you know, anti-seize or grease or whatever you want on it if you want. It helps, but sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Some vehicles are worse than others. A two-wheel drive Chevy truck in the front, I will definitely do it. This, nah. Just don't fail all that often anyways. It's kind of uncommon that the bearing failed twice on the same axle. Or the same wheel. Those are just 15mm bolts on the back, by the way. 4 of them. Torque spec is tight, but not too tight. I actually need to order new lug nuts for this too. Forward lug nuts always swell up like crazy. I've already done, like I said, I did a video on the rear parking brakes on these about how to manually press the pistons or the electric motor back. There's basically a threaded screw in the caliper that presses that piston out for the emergency brake. So you have to thread it back. And anyways, I did a whole other video on that. I gotta get my caliper compressor. These brackets are pretty forgiving. You don't really ever have to clean these. Sometimes you do, but I mean, these are, like I said, they're pretty forgiving. These are nice. I like these. If Ford did something right, it was design these. Actually, I think they copied it, but it's pretty nice. Make sure you get your pads right. So these are Napa adaptive 1 pad, so they tell you like inner and outer. On these, the inner pad will have this spring, and then I always put the wear indicator facing down. So this is going to slide in just like that, wear indicator facing down. There we go. make sure your spring is in their center, and it is. Sometimes they can kick out at an angle and they'll poke through the top of the caliper. These here are pretty nice. We're going to put a little bit of lube on the, we're not going to put them on the screws, we're going to put it on this. I just take my brush and smush it in there and kind of get everything lubed in there. Go. Let's get your two caps. And then your spring. We'll start one side, push that in, and then pull it over. And I'll give it a little, just make sure it's fully seated. And that is that. Hopefully it don't come back.